Thanks for joining us here tonight on ARC Salt Lake. I'm Brian Schnee. It is Wednesday, July 9th. Tonight on Utah's Missing, we have a mysterious case with a heartbroken family following a Ute Tribe member disappearing without a trace. We'll get to Utah's Missing in just a moment, but first, meteorologist Sean Kelly here, lingering in the background. There he is. Come on over here, buddy. You're very important right now. We're talking about storms moving through the area. We just had a lightning strike cause a small brush fire in Eagle Mountain. Good news if anyone's watching from that area. Has been extinguished. So there's a lot to keep our eye on, and that and the heat. So plenty to keep you guys busy.
Yeah, we were warning everyone yesterday about the threat for some of these thunderstorms. A lot of them will be dry, and we continue to see really no rain out there for much of the area. We continue to see a few raindrops with some of these storms reaching the ground here. You can see that radar kind of getting a little bit more active here further out towards the eastern half of the state, but we are bone dry towards the western part of the state with a few isolated showers and some thunderstorms. Here's those lightning strikes, which Brian was just mentioning here. We had a nice little band of rain briefly push through the Wasatch Front. We've got another shower out across Tooele County and then down towards the south into Eagle Mountain area, Lehigh, and some light rain into the Provo area. So a few raindrops and some gusty winds with it. You can see outside it's kind of cloudy out there. We had a little bit of some light rain briefly here in the Salt Lake Valley. As we head into the evening, we'll continue to see some of these areas see some wind gusts potentially up to 40 to 45 miles per hour as we head through the evening. The next 2 hours we'll continue to see a few of those showers, and then we'll dry things out and we get ready for our cool down. So we did it officially. The third day of triple digit heat was today. Look at this drop though, more than 10 degrees now as we get into tomorrow. So we'll talk about how long this lasts coming up in my first alert weather forecast and the changes that we'll see as well.
It just vanished, you know? He just completely vanished into thin air, it felt like.
In Utah's Missing tonight, a member of the Ute Tribe living in Sandy vanishing without warning. Police body camera footage and a mysterious final stop in a motel is the last anyone saw of John Kurip. Nearly a year later, no witnesses, no footprints, no answers as to what happened to him. Jim Spiewak talked with investigators and John's family who are holding on to hope to a case that's growing colder at this point by the day.
Well, Brian, John received a stipend from the tribe each and every month, and it hasn't been touched since he went missing almost a year ago. This is one of the videos that shows one of his final moments that anyone saw him while in the Salt Lake Valley. The next moment, poof, gone without a trace.
Oh man, he really was the life of the party.
As a father, John Kurip tried his best to be a great dad to his now 20-year-old daughter, Alicia Solis.
He was a really big light, you know, and he just brought joy and knew how to make everyone laugh.
Kurip, a member of the Ute Tribe, struggled with alcohol but had recently completed treatment.
We were all going to go to this concert together and we were going to have dinner before we left.
But that night never happened. On August 10th of 2024, Alicia began receiving a string of strange texts from her dad.
He was texting me and asking me what time it was. He was asking me where he was at. He was asking me where I was at. It was just weird.
John also texted his parents, who drove several hours to the Salt Lake area to check on him.
By the time that they had gone out there, he was gone. He was just nowhere to be seen.
Slowly lifting away.
In the hours before he vanished, body cam video from 7:42 a.m. on August 11th, 2024 shows John admitting to recent substance use.
You're at a rehab facility, yeah? Right?
I completed it.
You did?
Yeah.
What was your drug of choice?
Alcohol.
Police had been called after John was spotted knocking on doors, even entering a home where he was chased out at gunpoint.
A little too much?
No.
John was not arrested. He declined medical help, and police drove him back to his apartment in Sandy. Then at 10:10 a.m.
have you knocking on people's doors, walking in their backyards and stuff. I also don't want you passing out.
In this second body cam video from Sandy City Police, John is wearing different clothes.
So I can take you back home, I can take you up to the hospital, whatever you want to do.
Can you take me to the townhouse suites?
Like the ones right by the Sportsman's Warehouse? Yeah, I'll take you there, man. I don't care.
And is that the last we've really seen of John? That is the last that we know of John and any contact that we've had.
Retired Deputy Police Chief Chris Bertram is a private investigator on this case.
What do you think happened? I mean, do we think John's alive? We worry about that, that maybe something has happened to John or something John has decided to do with, by himself. We're just not sure.
For nearly a year, Bertram and other PIs have followed every lead. John left behind all of his belongings of his stable life, which included a tribal stipend and close ties to his kids.
Did somebody give him a ride? Did somebody have an interaction with him? Did somebody pick him up and, put him in harm's way? What's surprising to us is we're in an urban area, and we have not, nobody's found John. And so we're concerned about that.
I want my dad home.
And so is Alicia, who's already spent a Father's Day and a birthday without her dad.
A part of me is just kind of like, are we ever going to find him? A part of me is kind of giving up on that hope.
The Sandy Police Department is in charge of this investigation, which they say is still active and open. They're trying to pursue any lead that they can. And talking about leads, the family is now going to put up $5,000 for any information that can help lead to finding John and bringing him home, whether he is dead or alive.
Chris Bertram makes a good point here. A lot of the missing person cases that we share have some remote or rural element to it. This is urban. Midvale, Sandy area is very high traffic, especially, you see these places where this body camera is from. Those are residential areas. We live in a day and age where cameras are everywhere. So it's wild to me to think that nobody had any sort of other surveillance of him to a certain point. With that said, you have a lot of great imagery here of John leading up to, I guess, his last moments, if you will, of when somebody may have seen him. Kudos to you for bringing that out here to share this. There's a lot of bizarre pieces in this case. What strikes the investigators as perhaps most confusing with all of this?
Well, the fact that John had a seemingly very comfortable life. They admit, his family and investigators admit, that he did struggle with substance use disorder. Alcohol was his primary choice of a substance to abuse, and he was getting treatment, so they admit that. But he also had a very comfortable life. He was getting that tribal stipend, which was pretty healthy. So he had money, he had a nice apartment that he was living in a nice part of town, and he had a great relationship with both of his children. So the question is why would anybody want to give all of that up? The other thing that's confusing to investigators is that his phone, all of his belongings were inside the apartment when they finally were able to get in and search and see after they knew that he was missing. And because he was dressed, you see it in this video right here, he's dressed in a much nicer outfit than he was in the first video. This is the second video, one of the last times we saw John. The family is concerned that maybe he was dressed nicely because he might want to cause harm to himself. That's one of the theories that they have.
Some things that you mentioned there. You mentioned the phone. A lot of technology pieces lend officers the ability to look through and find and canvass. Now, I know that Sandy police say this is an open and active investigation. Did you ask them about the phone?
Yeah, and they looked through the phone. They did find some concerning text messages in the moments leading up to August 11th in the video that we see right there. But there wasn't really much more that they could decipher from the phone. And you asked the question a little bit earlier, how does someone just vanish in today's day and age, especially in an urban setting and environment? The family canvassed the area around where he lived right after he went missing. They even went up into Big Cottonwood Canyon and searched because he liked to frequent that area. But one of the things that's a little frustrating to investigators is that a few months went by before PIs were brought on by the family, and by that time, a lot of the video in the surrounding area had either been deleted, it had been overwritten, it was gone. And so they weren't able to piece together that next piece of the puzzle after they know that he was dropped off at that motel at about 7200 South in State Street. And so that's one of the confusing parts. That's one of the frustrating parts, is that they wish they had known a little bit earlier so that they could maybe go and get some of that video that they think might be gone now.
Well, you have the faith in the local police department when they say, can we have your help? You have that idea in your head, oh, they're looking into this. When in reality, departments have a number of cases they're working on at once. They have only so many people with so many hours, with so many avenues to look for things. You mentioned Big Cottonwood Canyon. Is that somewhere that investigators went to physically look for him?
Yeah, they did. They took out dogs. They looked out there, and that was a place that he liked to frequent all of the time. He was in Big Cottonwood Canyon quite a bit. The family, they put out a search party just in the couple days after they knew that he was missing and that he was unaccounted for. So they searched all around the area, in and around his apartment in the Sandy area. But again, to no avail. And that's kind of one of the confusing things, is that just poof, gone. They want to know. Listen, do you recognize John? Did someone maybe pick him up and give him a ride, not knowing that he is now missing? Police would love to hear from you, and that's one of the questions that they're trying to ask. Is there someone out there that maybe gave him a ride and can help them get that next piece of the puzzle?
At this point, so much time has gone since the last known sighting that investigators or police, in theory, are aware of. So does the family hold hope that he is still alive?
Yeah, they do a little bit. You know, obviously that would be the best case scenario for them. But in talking with Alicia, his 20-year-old daughter, she says that the family is now starting to realize that maybe the worst has happened to John. And if that is the case, they are somewhat prepared for it, but they would also like that closure, even if that is just finding his remains and bringing those remains home and maybe trying to get some answers that way as to what happened to him in his final moments.
John Kurip, if you can help with any sort of just recognizing the face, perhaps even the clothing he was wearing, and in some of the videos you saw there, please let Sandy Police know. Of course, the family would like to know. Chris Bertram, a private investigator, would like to know. You can reach out to Jim and let him know. Any way to share that information is valuable. Jim Spiewak joining us on Utah's Missing tonight. Jim, where can people get caught up on the story?
Yeah, if they want to head over to KUTV.com, right there is the story, and you can click on that link right there. There's some information on how you can easily contact police and investigators if you think you know something that might be able to help them out.
Coming up on Arc Salt Lake, have you seen this man? The newest case on Utah's Missing. A new case to share with you out of West Valley, new to us here on Utah's Missing. 18-year-old Julian Francis Kawet has been missing since June 19th, meaning he's been not seen or heard from in about 20 days. Sadly, this is the only photo we can find of him. It is from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. According to the post on MCMEC, if you see Julian, you should not approach him. Simply contact law enforcement. If you know anything about the whereabouts of Julian Kawet, call West Valley City Police 840-4000. That's 801-840-4000. And if you're looking for Julian, we would like to help in the search too. You can use the 2 News text to tip line. See the number on your screen. That is a great resource to get in touch with our team here, or you can always reach out to me directly on social media. Well, the search for Kylie Ariano continues. It's now been 41 days since she was last seen walking towards Logan Canyon with a suitcase in tow. A tip led police to believe she was seen in downtown Salt Lake City late last month. However, her mother Stephanie, with the assistance of the Road Warriors for the Missing, a network of volunteers who search for those who are missing, organized a search of the area. Unfortunately, after being shown surveillance footage correlated with that tip, Stephanie confirmed the person seen was not her daughter. A reminder to keep an eye out. Kylie wears a lot of dark clothing and is known to color her hair. The last time she was seen, she had chin-length brown hair, black braces, and tattoos. Anyone with information about Kylie's whereabouts should call the Rich County Sheriff's Office. That number is on your screen. It is 435-793-2285, referencing the case number you also see on your screen, 25R308. For continued coverage on Utah's missing cases, make sure to join us Wednesdays, 7 o'clock, right here on Arc Salt Lake. We are dedicated to helping you find answers or closure for your family. Like always, you can reach out on the socials if you have a case or a situation you would like us to take a look into. Back with meteorologist Sean Kelly here about 7:17 on this fine evening, and a windy day for a lot of the state.
Yeah, it's been pretty gusty, 30 to 40 mile per hour winds. We even had some microburst, downburst winds, and that combined with some of that lightning out there, conducive for fires. And again, we'll be watching out for that here this evening as those fire warnings continue. You can see those wind gusts mainly confined down towards the south and west. That's where a lot of those fire warnings currently are in effect through 9 p.m. this evening, up to 35 mile per hour winds. That's been already verifying for nearly every county within the state. As we head through the evening, though, the winds will die down quite a bit. And look at this. By tomorrow, they are light with a little bit gusty conditions down and across our national parks and down towards the Four Corners here. And you can see also the wind direction. That is our cold front later on this evening. That is going to cool us down and make it feel much better. It looks pretty. Looking outside, a few dark clouds here and there, still some breaks of some sunshine. Temperatures into the 90s. We reached 100 degrees today again for the 3rd time of the season. We've got temperatures that are still pretty toasty down in the Delta area at 99, 105 in St. George, 100 degrees in Page. And here we go. We've got some moisture developing along I-70 across the eastern part of the state. But right now, the areas that I'm keeping the most focus for is just north of Provo, now from Eagle Mountain into Lehigh. That's where we have a few lightning strikes that's heading up across the Wasatch Mountains, just south of the Draper area. But now in the Salt Lake Valley, we're now seeing some light to moderate rain showers here, pushing in across the northern end of the Wasatch Front, heading towards the Farmington area. Colville had a nice, good downpour of rain, and then down towards the south, we're drying things out from the showers that we had earlier. Through about 9 p.m., we'll continue to see those showers. After that, we continue to dry things out, and then we're dealing with sunshine all day long tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a gorgeous day. So we've got lows down into the 60s overnight. Highs tomorrow, look at this, 10 degrees cooler. Upper 80s. It's going to feel real nice out there. If you're heading out to the local pool, the lakes, reservoirs, it's going to be really nice. Lake Powell, of course, pretty toasty there, 104. But Jornell down through Bear Lake into the 80s. That's not bad. How about that? St. George 107 down to 106 as we head into the weekend. It's looking pretty hot into early next week as well. And then we've got sunshine each and every day, breezy conditions each and every day along the Wasatch Front. Big cool down tomorrow. It's going to feel real nice. 89 for a high, 90 on Friday, and then we're heating things back up above normal there for the weekend and hot into next week. So we'll get 2 full days of temperatures cooler than normal for a change.
I think you can feel a little bit of a difference between 89 and 100.
I think
especially
so.
depending on how the humidity factors in,
think
things
so.
like that.
Absolutely.
All right, should be nice to play a little golf.
That's right. That's why I booked the tee time.
We're going to try to do that in the morning. That'd be great. Thank you, Sean. Coming up on Arc Salt Lake, the Utah Division of Natural Resources says they're happy to see people enjoying summer outdoors, but are using this rescue footage as a reminder of river safety. Good save. Taking a look at what's trending tonight, a retired Wisconsin officer has found a meaningful way to honor fallen officers while providing comfort to their families. Retirement is treating Greg Freiberg well. He is enjoying his horse farm, family, and drawing. After one of his own was killed in the line of duty, he drew their portrait.
Yeah, he started drawing as a child, but his skills took off when he was tasked with drawing a suspect based on witness descriptions. Freeberg frames his creations and gives them to Milwaukee police to keep or pass on to the families.
Last week, a DNR ranger was on patrol near the Trestle Bridge on the Provo River when a paddleboarder asked for help. A woman was trapped under the bridge in the water. The ranger and bystanders held the woman's head above the water as they worked in the really cold water temperatures. I guess they were mentioning an average about 55 degrees rather. You know, and you're in that water for a certain amount of time, hypothermia sets in.
Yeah, I bet. After 30 minutes, they were able to free the woman and get her medical attention. You can see so many were involved with this. The DNR says people passing by offering their own towels, blankets, and sleeping bags to aid the warming process. 55 degrees, that's frigid.
One thing I want to mention here, that woman was wearing a life vest. And that vest likely saved her life to a degree. And that is the big safety message from that video. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Take care.